The key issues identified is physical activity and sedentary behaviour. Insufficient PA refers to not completing enough PA, whereas being sedentary refers to long periods of sitting or lying down. This can reduce cardiovascular fitness or function or bone density. The guidelines for ages 13 to 17 years for physical activity to achieve 60 minutes, for sedentary behaviour 120 minutes at a time. For this age group, 8% meet the PA guidelines, 1 in 5 meet the sedentary behaviour guidelines, and 1.9% meet both standards. The proportion of young people meeting the guidelines is decreasing with age. Sedentary behaviour has decreased from the lower age groups of 42% to 19%, and with PA from 19 to 0.7% for 15 to 17-year-olds. For remotedness, outer regional areas were more active, with 18% meeting the guidelines. For sex groups, 8.4% of boys and 7.2% for girls met the PA guidelines. 15% of boys compared to 26% of girls met the sedentary behaviour guidelines. And lastly, for the Indigenous population, 33 met the PA guidelines, higher than the non-Indigenous population of 19 for 13 to 17-year-olds. The management challenges identified for the school include movement integration, so increasing movement opportunities into classroom routines was needed, planning periods where the whole school is to identify key interventions, and maintaining flexibility with implementation, catering for unexpected changes or develop adaptable programs. For the student, working with ELD learners, active learning strategies and recruit bilingual leaders is needed, praise positive interaction, and separating larger groups into smaller groups based on maturity, gender, or ability levels. For the staff, goal setting was needed and should base on outcomes teachers can easily track. CDP provides knowledge for differentiated instruction and supporting motivation of students. Lastly, skills and competencies. So to engage with diversified groups of pupils based on performance level or support. For parents, it was needed for increased parental involvement, which will be discussed later on. Lastly, the community, planning and implementation, providing training sessions, leader manuals, and other reviewed resources. And lastly, obtaining consistent feedback from organisations before, during, and after programs, as well as addressing issues. The opportunities for PA were maximised and reinforced through the curriculum, school environment, policies, culture, and community partnerships. This ensured student wellbeing, safety, and learning outcomes to be addressed. Stimulating PA during break periods of recess and lunch was an approach taken. This was demonstrated by extending boundaries to the back oval and basketball courts. As well as this, students were allowed to access sporting equipment from the PDHP storeroom. From this engagement with gaming equipment, PA among students increased. The sports committee were also well supported by the whole school. The active role they adopted included implementing daily competitions for all students and staff to partake in. By increasing the PA opportunities provided to students during and after school hours had shown to play a positive effect on PA and sedentary behaviour. Fitness classes were programs that ran voluntarily for students and staff 3 times a week before school. As well as this, the school expanded their institutional partnership ties with community-based facilities and providers of PA. The Youth Sports Club for tennis and commercial facilities such as Anytime Fitness and Flip Out were utilised. By sharing sporting facilities, increased the connectivity of the school with the neighbourhood, which in turn facilitates participation in sports activities of students after hours. It is the integration of after-school programs which produces enhanced effects on supportive and inclusive youth wellbeing. The key to effective programming, which was evident at the school, was connection to student interest. Students preferred the fun activities, thus the programs offered were increasingly attractive, related to student preferences, and benefited those particularly of students who are shy, sedentary, and overweight. The efforts to maximise PA opportunities were thoughtfully planned and coordinated. The PDHP faculty especially moved beyond their role as classroom educators to accepting the responsibility as PA coordinators for the entire school. The leadership qualities of the sports committee, teachers, pupils, and local partners were incorporated to produce appropriate initiatives that were inclusive and positive. For future direction, the first point relates to parents having an important role in modelling health behaviours and are the primary responsibility in shaping their child's health attitudes. Parental involvement could be further developed through information sessions. Discussion-based sessions could explore current trends and effective strategies to implement at home. The second point relates to developing programs to accommodate for an increasingly diverse range of student abilities. Special attention is needed for students who lack the motor ability and or social support to exercise in an organised sports setting. Additional programs with specialised personnel and accessible venues is needed.